everybody, Connor, Ann, and Kenny here. We want to tell you about some travel news that we were just reading about. The Southwest pilot strike. What? So on May 12th, the Southwest Airlines Pilot Association, or SWAPA, voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike. So the vote was 99% in favor of a strike with only 1% voting against, which is kind of crazy.
Who are those 1%, huh?
1%?
Those traitors.
I mean, they must have traitor tattooed on their forehead. You know people know who they are. And if a strike does occur, it would be the first major strike by airline pilots in the United States in decades. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, how frequent are pilot strikes, Kenny? Is this like a pretty common thing, or what are we talking?
This is a major development, and they have a good leg to stand on here because American Airlines and then Delta had to follow suit. They just authorized a bump in pay for the pilots. And so Southwest has a very good leg to stand on here. There's basically 4 things that they're looking to improve in their contract. Increased pay, of course, who doesn't want to make more money? Improved work rules. So they want to have better rules around how much they can fly, their mandatory rest times. They also want more time off. Flying is extremely stressful. You are away from your family for long periods of time. And then they want better retirement benefits. This comes at a time where Southwest has not had a good last year. On Christmas, they had their big meltdown. They've had other big cancellations since. They have an aging tech stack that really needs to be looked at. Admittedly, we deal with Southwest on a business level from time to time, and normally our teams are great. It's been really hard to get in touch with people at Southwest, and it's been hard to get contracts quickly. It seems like there's a lot going on there, and the pilots are putting their thumb on the scale now with what's going on in the industry. And Southwest is likely not going to have a lot of leverage here because there is a pilot shortage in the United States and in the world. And Southwest knows that, their union knows that. And after American and Delta just raised the pay, I think by up to 30%, you'll have to check that.
Cool.
But Southwest pilots are, they're using this time and they're basically kicking in their leverage at probably the perfect time, especially Southwest is predominantly a leisure airline, and into the summer travel season, this is where they get the busiest, they make the most money, and so this is the perfect time for them to go on strike.
Yeah, I would say that Southwest employees are a little frustrated that they seem to not put a lot of emphasis and importance into updating their tech. I think they're getting better about it because they have to. If you're interested in listening to the Southwest Meltdown, it's episode 12. Kenny and I run through every single thing that happened, and you can kind of get a little recap there. But I would say the impacts are way, way scarier if they do go on strike for the aviation industry than if they just up the pay, give them a little job security. The potential impacts of the Southwest strike could be flight cancellations, obviously. So a strike could lead to widespread flight cancellations, and they wouldn't be able to operate any of their flights without their pilots, right? Or if they did keep that 1% of their pilots, that would be a major, major, major thing to happen in the airline industry that hasn't happened almost ever before. So typically they do give in, the airlines do give in and have to pay their pilots, understandably. Increase prices if they went on strike. The flight prices would go up like crazy, and the airline would need to cover the costs of operating its flights without pilots. So that's nuts. And then disruption to travel plans for just millions of people trying to find alternative ways to get to their destination, and that sucks too. So I would say that pilots at the current rate of, tech innovation they're worried. Their jobs are they're barreling towards the direction of being automated. And that's terrifying too, right? How much do you know about that? Because I know there's like the tech co-pilot concept that's happening right now. And obviously you can't just not have a real human being in the cockpit, but I could see I don't know, 10, 15 years, they're just flying the planes people-less? What does that look like?
Yeah, so on commercial airlines, there is a requirement to have two pilots. There has been a push towards changing the rules to maybe only allowing one pilot to fly the plane if there was technology sufficient enough to take over. Uh, I don't see that happening. I think that that's probably too much. And I don't think that people will feel comfortable knowing the computer is flying the plane, because if something goes wrong, you're going to want a trained human there. And honestly, and just using all the AI tools now, there's so much times that the AI just gets stuff wrong, to be candid. I was running some searches the other day trying to do some travel planning, and it was just wrong. It was just bad data. It was trained on bad data. It didn't pull the right data from the internet. So you really have to double check the AI these days. So, and then there's a bill out there, or there's legislation that is trying to reduce the amount of hours that someone has to train on to become a pilot, which is also kind of terrifying. They're like, maybe you don't need 2,000 hours, maybe you only need 500, and sure, go fly this
Whoa,
plane of
that's a big...
170 people.
Did you make
I'm
that
not
up, or is that real?
No, I'm not exactly sure of the numbers. We'll have to look it up, but it was basically a lowering of the bar for how many flight hours that you need to be a pilot. Yeah. Going back to the Southwest contract dispute, they're really probably looking at American Airlines and their new contract. So American has 13,000 pilots. They just signed a new contract. The contract is for 4 years. In 2023, the pilots will get a 21% pay raise.
Wow, yeah.
So like the average salary for a pilot at Southwest is somewhere between like $88,000 and $100,000. So let's say that they basically go after what Americans pilots get. It would mean getting a $21,000 pay bump this year. Then American got a 5% pay raise in 2024 and a 4% pay raise in 2025 and 2026. So what all this means is, because it's very competitive and they all fly the same planes, it's easy to fly a 737 for Southwest and go and jump in on the 737 for Delta. You can switch airlines, right? Yeah. And so Southwest is kind of over the barrel here. They're going to most likely have to cave, and the Southwest brand cannot take any more big disruptions. So my prediction is that they are going to get what they want, and they may have to make some concessions just because, in the spirit of, debate, or in the spirit of contract negotiation, there is some give and take. But the pilots of Southwest are going to get what they want. That is going to mean probably higher prices, because airlines are notoriously a very low margin business. So we are going to see higher prices because of this. Hopefully we will see better quality of life provisions for the Southwest pilots, so there are less cancellations. And then hopefully this will attract more new pilots into the industry. Yeah. Which is one of the big challenges now, because there are just not as many young pilots jumping into the industry as there really needs to be, as travel rebounds and just continues to grow. So this is something worth watching. I would say if you're between Southwest and another airline, and all things considered, they're a similar schedule and price, and you're going to fly in the next few months, I would probably fade Southwest and go with another airline, because you just don't know what's going to happen with this strike. Yeah. And Southwest is a major American airline. You guys know they have over 750 aircrafts and employ over 50,000 people, to put that in perspective. So I'm sure what they want more than anything is to get out of the news. But this strike authorization comes after months and months of negotiations between the two sides with no resolution in sight. So I don't know what's going to happen here. We'll see whether the two sides will be able to reach a negotiated settlement before a strike happens. I would hope that's what it looks like for them, but we'll keep you updated on what happens. Okay, everybody, thank you for listening. That was I don't know if that was a question. Let's pretend someone asked what is going on with the Southwest pilot strike.
But you guys, let me know if there's anything you want to hear about. Email hello@travelnerds.co. And we like talking about this kind of stuff. So if you see anything or read anything, shoot it my way. Later, nerds.